One LSU building has been in a state of disrepair for a very long time, but it's finally getting a fresh start after major renovations over the summer.
Yeah, in this special report, I introduce you to a historian who says he hopes the new version honors the memory of the building's namesake, and that's former Louisiana Governor Huey Long.
A beautiful building formed in Renaissance style. Looks fresh heading into LSU's fall semester, a far cry from its former self.
Over time, these buildings do, the roofs begin to fail and other stuff happens, and if you don't have the money to maintain it or repair it, it just gets worse.
Robert Mann's an LSU professor who studied the Huey Long Fieldhouse in depth. In fact, he's an expert on its namesake, even writing a book about the controversial Louisiana governor that hit shelves this summer.
I realized this was a great book and I better be the one to write it.
The Fieldhouse opened in 1932 and served as the first student union. Huey Long wanted it to hold the longest collegiate pool in the country.
Long sort of designed it. It was originally just going to be basically a swimming pool, and Long wanted something more substantial.
For decades, students reaped the benefits, but the long-standing landmark Long envisioned fell into disrepair by the end of the 20th century.
I saw it in its worst condition, and I know how badly the people who run this university wanted to restore that building.
They'll finally get their wish. In the fall, the building returns to some of its former glory. Multi-million-dollar renovations mean human sciences and education students will soon have more classrooms, labs, and even an Ochsner Health and Wellness Center. Interim President Thomas Galligan says it'll allow the LSU family to forge new traditions while honoring the man who brought it to life. Something Mann says is important.
The space is being utilized in the most efficient way for people today while also keeping the character of the building.
What do you think Huey Long would think of all this?
Well, I think he'd be overjoyed that his building, that Fieldhouse that has his name on it, is still there.
Mann says despite that, he thinks the late governor would be appalled at what he calls a lacking commitment to education.
He'd walk into the library and see the garbage cans on the top floor collecting rainwater and probably lose it right there.
But to know his Fieldhouse is flourishing again, well, the Kingfish should be pretty happy about that.
When you walk in the building, you should sort of have the feel like a student in 1934 would have felt when he or she walked into that building, except now it's air conditioned.